Good afternoon, everyone. This is Clem with Quinny's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today I have Raymond Miller on my channel today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I tweaked my back a little bit yesterday, but I'm feeling better. And I'm gonna see my chiropractor soon. She's gonna kick me in the right place and get it all set.
All righty. Now tell us a little about yourself.
Oh well, there's not a lot to say. I'm a writer, an author. I've been pushing it for a while since I was in say middle school. I've always been writing, but and I lucked out after college and getting into technical writing, so I was able to make some money. But fiction's always been in the background, and I've been pushing it a lot lately because I've realized that if I got the chops, I got the resources. There's no excuse.
Mhm.
So I've kind of been writing like I've been running out of time. And so when I'm not doing the day job, cranking out these websites and doing the content from the mobile apps, I come home and I do my thing. I do my thing. So, oh, I'm telling you about myself, not just about the writing. So I was born and raised in Arkansas. I grew up in Little Rock, went to Central High School, that Central. Went to college in Arkansas, spent time in college in Oklahoma, and finally, again, um, in University of San Francisco. And I've been in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, around Oakland, San Jose for about 20 years now. So I guess I've been in California. I've been longer than 20. I've been in California longer than I've been any place else. So I guess I'm a Californian now. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about your books. You can tell us about your books, the name of them,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
read a snippet from your book.
So oh my God, I've got so much stuff I've been working on. But for now, I've just been publishing ebooks on Amazon to kind of get my timing and everything down, do my own covers and descriptions and stuff like that. So I've got three ebooks out now. One's called Kentucky, Consider Lily, and We Never Look Each Other When We Get Down. And basically, they're little long and short stories, not exactly novellas. Oh, actually, there's one novella in there. But I asked myself the question, what do we do? What happens when you find money? Because a lot of us, we either don't have a lot of it or grew up without a lot of it, and suddenly you have this windfall, you know, uh, um, and you think your life would be perfect if you just had, $10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and it doesn't always work out that way, right?
Mhm.
Kind of a cautionary tale. So I wrote three. I'm working on the fourth one, going along those lines, and it's just ordinary people that we know, grew up in a neighborhood, and what if that aunt found some money, or that dude down at the corner, he had everything he needed, what happens to him then? So had to write it based on answering those questions. So those are the books that are out now. They're ebooks. You can find them on Amazon.com. Look for Raymond Miller. Type in Kentucky. The rest of them will pop up.
Hey, would you like to read a snippet from one of them?
Actually, I've got I've got a novel I've been working on for a long time that I had to put away because I felt as I didn't have the chops to do it justice. And one of the things that I tell young writers, have that thing you want to do, that book that's just this is my magnum opus, this is the thing I want. All right, work on it, put your notes, and then put it aside and go work on your skill and your craft, because the vision you have may not fit your abilities right now. But if you write some short stories, get some things published, push them out there, then when it comes time, work on that thing you really want. Otherwise, you'll be stuck
Mhm.
working the same book for 10 years, 20 years. That's not how you do things. That's not how you do
Mhm.
things. So what I'm reading from is my novel I'm working on, Two Dead Flies. Um, it's a coming of age story. Actually, it's the beginning of a series. It's something else I learned. If I had tried to get this thing published, when I started on it, it'd been one book out there and you're done. But I had an editor look at it, and she said, you don't really have a story arc here, which was almost devastating. Because what do you mean I don't have a story arc? But you got to sit down, listen to the criticism. No, there's no criticism, there's no failure. Feedback. She gave me feedback. I listened, understood. And then after writing the other books, working on it, the series and things like that, I realized I have a lot of stuff here. It's not a book, it's a series. So this is the first of the series. As we walk through this young man's life, as he grows older, I grow older, I mix those experiences in there. So this is just one of the more fun chapters and sections I have in the book uh, on pro wrestling, if you believe that. Anyway, So I remember watching pro wrestling one Saturday morning with Aunt Sugar. I loved wrestling. Kwame, Nathaniel, and I would tussle all the time, and it was one of the high points of the week. Nathaniel would bring a pair of his father's socks. We'd ball up one sock and put it in the other sock. And in the end, you didn't have a sock in a sock, but a power sock. And bam! Whoever was closest would get smacked over the head. Man, we made up names for ourselves and used ski masks to hide our identities. We all had good guy names and bad guy names. Like Kwame was Killer K and Mr. Bust You Up. And Nathaniel was Black Panther and the Big Cat Nat and Hacksaw Cannon and El Camino. Now, we told that fool he couldn't have more than two names, but he wasn't buying it. He had dozens of names like Killer Juice and Kool-Aid Kennedy. He had so many names that even he couldn't remember them all. I was Sugarcane Scott and Superdog D. We wrestled all the time, but we learned to be careful. I headbutted Nathaniel once, and he started crying, and I saw sparks, and I thought I was going to pass out. After that, we came up with rules. No headbutting, no punching, no biting, no kicking between the legs, but farting was okay. I really liked the name Super D Dog because it reminded me of my favorite wrestler, the Junkyard Dog. Whenever he entered the ring, walking through his fans like a king on Sunday, they played the song Another One Bites the Dust. Now, Junkyard Dog, he was a big, dark-skinned brother with huge arm muscles. And even though he had a big gut, he could do sit-ups for an hour straight and not get tired. He wore red and white wrestling pants with the Junkyard Dog stitched down the side. The butt of his pants read Thump. When JYD was ready to finish you, he picked you up and slammed you to the ground. That was a thump. And when the Junkyard Dog thumped you, you know you was thumped. His other move was his headbutt. I remember the announcer, some old white man who wrestled back before Aunt Sandra was born, say the Junkyard Dog had the hardest head in pro wrestling. Imagine that. There might be 10,000 wrestlers from Kentucky to Texas, and Junkyard Dog had the hardest head. This one time, about 4 ugly wrestlers tried to gang up on Junkyard Dog, because that was what cowards do. I remember one of them was Hacksaw Jim Dugan, and another might have been Butch Reed or Ted DeBias. It didn't matter because my man stood his ground straight and tall. He didn't worry about getting a whooping from his mom because he had to fight his bully at school. I bet his pastor didn't call him out during a sermon telling everybody at church he went to bed. Junkyard Dog didn't take nothing from nobody. One guy stepped up. He looked like some kind of homeless wild man with dirty yellow hair and greasy skin. Junkyard Dog grabbed him by his ears and cracked him with a headbutt. Another guy stepped up and then another. There were plenty of headbutts to go around for everybody. Bam, take that, you fool. And bam, take that for even being in the ring with me. And bam, take that for the company you keep. They was falling like leaves off a tree. And that's what they get for ganging up on one man. But he wasn't no ordinary man. Oh, boy, he was a Junkyard Dog. Look out, Junkyard! Oh, they got him. Oh, it took 2 of them to pin his arms. And I was waiting for him to break free. I'm like, stop playing, Junkyard. Damn, you cowards. You can't get away with that. You lucky Andre the Giant was off in a big city like Memphis. You lucky. I hope he come back next week and show them. And that, see, that was me having a little faith. When the third coward came up, Junkyard Dog kicked that dummy in the belly. And then he broke free. They forgot how strong JYD was. He was stronger and better than any 3 of them, any 4 of them. Junkyard Dog was better than any 5 cowards. He headbutted one of them and he went down and threw another against the ropes. And when he sprang back, JYD clotheslined him with a forearm across his cowardly throat. He was winning. He was handing the next allotment of headbutts out like it was a buffet, except instead of pork chops, Junkyard Dog was handing out headbutts, and he was giving headbutts like they were going out of style, and they was on the dollar rack. See, the last guy was smart. He protected his head with his hands, so Junkyard Dog punched him in the stomach and then headbutted him. That man went down, rolled away to join the others at the side of the ring because they didn't want no more of the dog. Shoot. Aunt Sugar and I were screaming and cheering and laughing, "Go, Junkyard Dog, go!" And she was in her big green house coat, and I had my Spider-Man pajamas. They wasn't really Spider-Man pajamas because Aunt Rachel wouldn't buy them for me, so I made them out of long johns and gym shorts. And I said to Aunt Sandra, wouldn't it be cool if my daddy was Junkyard Dog? That fool, Aunt Sugar said, he couldn't hold a job long enough to be Junkyard anything. Oh, man. I mean, I was disappointed, but still it's one of the few times she would talk about him, so I had to take advantage. What was he like? She looked at me with two emotions, one after the other. I had no idea what the first one was. I could sense it rise and pass very quickly. The second one I knew very well. Spite. I got to pee, she announced and farted loudly. Oh no. See, Aunt Sandra was kind of big and she couldn't really move on her own. So it was my job to help her. And if she pissed herself, Aunt Rachel would blame me. I jumped up and went to work. I had to hurry. So I started pushing and pulling, and we barely made a few steps before I smelled it. It was urine, and I felt that warm liquid through my socks. So instead of playing with my friends that day, I was going to spend the day trying to get the smell out of the carpet, and Aunt Sandra was just laughing at me. And we both knew Aunt Rachel would be mad when she came home. And all I knew about my father, that he wasn't a wrestler, he couldn't hold a job, and asking about him wasn't a good idea. At first, I thought that any information I got about him was better than no information at all, but I was wrong. Aunt Sandra was happy to tell me about my mother, how she broke my grandfather's heart and what leaving did to the family, but the story always changed. My mother died in Chicago. That was true. I hardly remember that place, but according to Aunt Sandra, we lived in the worst part of town, and my father's family liked to beat up on my mama. I, I, I I was pretty sure that wasn't true. I don't remember ever meeting my father's family. And sometimes Aunt Rachel told me that my mother traveled all the way to Chicago with my father, being the bastard he was, abandoned my mother and me at the bus station. And other times it was a train station. According to her, my mother and I lived in a sewer, and rats would nibble at us when it rained, and I almost lost my legs because a rat bit me in the butt. Her words were cruel, each syllable made to cut me. She washed my face, waiting for me to break into tears, and most of the time I did. The thought of my mother having such a hard time where nobody loved her and my daddy wasn't a good person at all, it hurt me more than I could describe. They were dead, and I never see them again or tell them that I missed them. I would never know anything more about them. Were they rich? Did they sing together? What comic books did they read? Were they really Baptists or like that strange church down the street that had service on Saturday? When my mother and father and I have sung Motown songs in harmony as we rode down the street, I'll never know, and nobody would ever tell me.
Oh, wow. And what's the name of this book?
Two Dead Flies.
Two Dead Flies. And
Yeah,
what did you come up with that
that's
title?
the thing. That's an interesting thing because I heard a relative or two mention to me that I wasn't worth two dead flies, and that kind of stuck with me. You've never heard that? You ain't worth two dead flies. You never heard that?
No, I heard the other thing.
So I was thinking I had other titles for it. I wanted to use The Roof is on Fire, but that's taken. It belongs to somebody else. And I got the advice once that if you're gonna write something, make it yours, and don't try and go off the back of somebody else's hard work and somebody else's stuff. And
Mhm.
as much as I love that title, I'm like, you know what? They're right. I got to make it mine. And as much as that was said to me, Two Dead Flies is mine. I own it.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
What message do you hope readers will take away from your books?
Well, that's the thing. You can't. You're right. You asked that question so well. What message did I hope? Because you can't really control it, and people will
Mhm.
spin and take stuff. So there are two things that I hope that people walk away with almost anything I write. The number one is it's best to be kind to each other. You don't know what people are going through, and
Mhm.
whatever we have to deal with now is not going to be the way it's going to be tomorrow, or 2 months from now, or 10 years from now. So why don't we establish what we want with ourselves in the future? Let's do it today, right?
Mhm.
So instead of arguing and fighting and pushing and pulling, no, lead with kindness. You never know what somebody's going through, because if you don't, you can read my book and find out what happens when you don't.
Mhm.
The other thing is that sometimes society is just not built for all of us to be successful, right? Because even if you just took race out of it, just take race and gender out of it, it's still built, to my opinion, purposely, to where if you got 1,000 people, only two or three of them going to be very wealthy, and maybe 100 of them will make a decent living, walk through life. I ain't got to worry. Oh, my car blew a tire. Don't worry about it. Let's just go get another tire. In fact, let's get 4 tires because we just gonna need to get, not everybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest, that's blown tire. That cuts into your monthly budget. Some people cuts into your life savings. You don't have a lot, and it's just a tire. It shouldn't be, you shouldn't ruin your whole 2 weeks of your life because your tire went flat. And so that's something I keep in mind as I write my books. You're not going to see a bunch of people on a yacht having a good time because they own the yacht. And, I bought these stocks yesterday and I made $2 million. That ain't. No matter, even if I got there, that's still not going to be, how I write, how I do things. Is more along the lines of such and such is raising their 2 kids and it's really hard over there. So, we can back badmouth them and talk about this person, or we can slide down and see what they need. I'm doing my lawn today. Let me, I got the lawnmower out. Let me just go run it over, the yard right quick because I got nothing better to do. What happens when we support each other and when we don't. So yeah, this kind of message I like to put out. Yeah.
What inspired you to be an author?
I've been looking. I encourage everybody to look through your interviews because you interview some very interesting people with some very interesting answers. So once you finish with this YouTube video, go through, or it might not be YouTube or whatever this video, go through the others. Because somebody told a story. I can't remember her name about winning a contest when she was in grade school, and that made me think, man, I had some good teachers. I didn't exactly win a contest, but how you are as a kid shows how you will be as an adult.
Yes.
And I could never stay within the lines. So there was a thing to where we were just supposed to write what we did on during the summer vacation. So I wrote it. I wrote 2 pages, my big scrawl. And then at the end, because I can't stay within the lines, I said, and now I'm here spending time with my classmates. I'm having a good time. This is what class reunion is going to look like. So I went through the whole class and told what everybody would be like, in 20, 30 years. I had the kid who was, kind of tough. I had him being a boxer. He's a middleweight champion. I had some of the girls who thought they were cute. They were models and all that. I had somebody be an ambassador. I had to explain to other kids what an ambassador was. Of course, I'm a famous author, because that's who I am. But but I try to be kind to everybody, and and as far as inspiration, I've always wanted to do this. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Was a writer since day one, a storyteller, getting the word out there, good or bad. That's what I do, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Who has had the greatest influence on your writing style?
Oh, that's a good. All right. Oh, this is. You probably gonna let me do this later, but I'm gonna do it now before I forget. This here's my mother's cookbook. We worked on it together. Her recipes. I did a lot of formatting, some of the designing on the cover. Mama's Home Cooking by Wilma Miller. And I got to say, that my mother. I used to think that she just liked the center of attention, but I realized I get the writing from her, and that was, and I'll be honest with you, you misjudge your parents. It's easy to, because you got no experience. You're an idiot. You're a child.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother's a storyteller, and that's where I got it from. So instead of going, Mom, why you always got to be, I should go, Mom, thank you for passing this on to me. Sometimes it seemed like a burden, but I couldn't imagine doing anything else. So that's where it all began. And I had good, I was encouraged, by my mother, my father, she liked that money sometimes, helped me get stuff. I need a typewriter. I'm not aged myself. I need some paper. I'm tick, 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 tick. Got to do it. Got to do the thing. And then, but writing, I went to school. I was an English major, creative writing, really. And I got inspired by Shakespeare for a little bit. And part of it was just this arrogance of, hey, I can, I grew up in church. I read the Bible. I can kind of get this Shakespeare thing down, which is not a bad influence to have. I was on a Stephen King kick for a little while, but Walter Mosley, that brother, when he writes something, I read it. Oh my goodness, everything. He don't write nothing. I'm not right there. And sometimes I buy something and I realize, oh, this is just something I already read. It's in German. I'm so excited. He got a new book. And then I wrote down, because I keep forgetting, I'm trying to expand my horizons. So I've been reading a lot of crime stuff lately to kind of get that inspiration. Who doesn't read a lot of science fiction? And James McBride, James McBride, Octavia Butler, and Zane. Because as adults, sometimes you need to. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna be careful with my words here because it's a family show. um, Society has been changing a lot lately. It
Mm-hmm.
used to bump just a little bit, over decades, and now every month, every year, things are just different. LGBTQ plus is moving forward, changing how we do things. Somebody look at you and they say, my name was Kenneth, now it's Zelda, and my pronoun is her. That's what we're doing. You ain't got to ask twice. That's what we're doing. And if you're gonna keep up and be that kind of person, you gotta read about it. You gotta understand. You gotta get on into it. Because you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to put out writing that turns people off. Now, if you're not, uh, yeah, you don't want to put out writing that turns people off. I've been debating. I shouldn't debate on Facebook with people about the classics. And I'm gonna be fair about this. On one hand, we have the books that we read. Mark Twain. Blah blah blah. Okay, we're reading this.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, a lot of these books were picked to humiliate certain people. And that's my feeling. I mean, that's just, okay, we got a lot of Mark Twain to read, but we're going to do the one where the N word's used a lot. So I can show you where you were and challenge you. But not everybody needs to be challenged in the class, only certain folks.
Mm-hmm.
I've had young ladies, some of them millennials, some of them not, that I've interacted with who say, well, these books seem kind of, and excuse my language, rapey. Not necessarily Mark Twain, but the ones we read that are classics. And they find,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't want to read that. Why should I have to deal with something like that? And so there's a debate going on. What should we teach? Who should choose those books? And I can't answer that now. I can't really speak to that now. But I will say, if you want to be timeless, if you want people years from now to really understand the struggle of people, you know what? That's a good point. If you are writing something and these characters show up, it's not that we called you the N word, ha ha ha, that's what you are. It should be, we called you the N word, this is what you are, but this is the struggle you're going through. If you're not going to show me the full, well rounded struggle, leave it alone. Okay. We don't bring in trans characters to laugh at them, blah, 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 but not show. This is how hard it is for them. And if you can't show both sides, don't show no side. If you can't show the full rounded thing, don't show none of it. And that is, no, excuse me, because sometimes as I talk, I'm thinking and I'm coming to some conclusions. But anyway, I forgot what your question was. Yeah.
Who has been the greatest influence on your writing style?
We got all that from who got influence on my writing style. Oh yeah, because I mentioned Zane. So what I would, yeah, I'm reading a bit of Zane, and she's out there as far as people touching each other and stuff like that, because it's fun, but a lot of it's just a lot of it's research. And then Octavia Butler, it's a hard read sometimes.
It is.
A couple parable books,
Mm-hmm.
but especially now, it's better to know it to at least experience to the book to be a little well-rounded. And so those have been my influences lately as far as my writing is concerned. I try and keep things on a certain uh, a certain level, but every once in a while the story just takes you in that place. you know it
Mm-hmm.
takes you there, and you got to follow, because if you don't follow, it doesn't read authentic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little about your writing process.
Oh, that depends. All right. So there are two ways. I talked to one guy. He's from England, and he gave me some advice. And I just, because he's published a lot of books, so I shut up and I just listen. Because if somebody's got more experience, you just listen. And there are two ways of going about it. You plot it and you say, okay, I got 4 chapters, 25 chapters. Here's what's going to happen in each chapter. Or you pants it. Seat of your pants. I'm just going to start writing and see what happens. So that's not me. That seat of the pants thing. No, I can't get anything done that way. So my process is to have, I pick my genre. Am I writing science fiction? Am I writing mystery? Am I just doing the literary thing, just to get out what I want to do? I kind of flesh out my characters, have a sense of the plot. By chapter 4, this needs to happen. By chapter 10, it all blows
Mm-hmm.
up, and I finish around chapter 14. And so from that outline, from that structure, then I start writing. Something that Walter Mosley does, he's just a master at this. Oh, it kills me. He has these asides. So I call them asides. I'm not sure what the technical term is for them, but two characters will be interacting. They're going to solve the mystery, and they'll go talk to a third character, and that third character has its own little backstory. So now we're reading 2 or 3 paragraphs, maybe 2 or 3 pages of, I met this person back in Mississippi, and back then she had to kill this guy and got away with it. I have no idea how she did it. And a lot of times that just adds to the interest of the story and picks
Yeah.
up and goes with the tone. So what I'm doing in my process of this particular book is, as I write, I'm taking notes. Okay, this character, their aside is this, and I've got to figure out where the appropriate place to put it is. So it may not be on this page. It may be 4 chapters from now, but I got it and I know it. The other thing, and this is something I do, is I always carry a notebook, and it's replaced by a phone, but I'm always ready. I'll get inspired by something. Someone will say a nice phrase, and okay, write it down. Google Keep. I put it in there, and boom, I got it. I got it. And so that'll end up in a book, in a story, in a blog post somewhere soon enough. Yes.
Okay. What has been your greatest challenge as an author?
My greatest challenge, the hump I had to get over, was understanding that I'm new. All right. No matter how long you do this, until you can say you've written 12 novels and won such and such prize and have such and such following, you're new. And there's nothing wrong with being new. You can be new with 4 novels. You're just because there's a lot to learn, right? And I'm not saying you're inexperienced or the same as someone who's never written anything. It's just there's a certain amount of putting the time and work in to where you're no longer a novice. And so it was a challenge to get to the point where I understood that. So I would read, let's just say Walter Mosley. Actually, I was past by the time I started reading Walter Mosley. So I'm reading Stephen King, and I'm trying to be that good. Well, the man had 30 books at the time. He'd been doing it for a long time, so you're not gonna be able to match that, right? So the hump I had to get over was stop trying to be on that level. Be on your own level. Do your own thing. Eventually, by the time you get there, you don't even notice it. You'll just be there. But be kind to yourself. Take the time. Grow. Put the words on the page. Keep moving, and let time and effort work for you. And until I understood that, then I would sit there and look, man, this sentence is just not right. Oh, I can't get the story right. No, you got the story right for now. For your skill level, this is what you got, and it's not bad. Stop comparing it with something else, right? Yeah, that was one challenge. The other challenge, for a little bit, I had challenges with the shiny and new. Oh, if I just had this application and this tool, if I just read this book, that'll fix everything. No. Time and effort and patient every day. Writing half an hour over the course of a week, every day a week, is a lot more valuable than putting 8 hours in one night. Over time, slow maturity. That's the way to go. Nobody wants to do it. You want to, knock it out of the ballpark. But I promise you, every time you hear about somebody's overnight success, that wasn't overnight. That was over years. Putting that time in, and then one day, boom, it just happens. But you got to pay your dues, and you can't think of it. Okay, and I'm not trying to put down anybody. You can't. There are 2 ways of approaching it. Pop music. I got my synthesizers that'll correct my voice, and I'm young, maybe 14. And it's not to say these 14-year-olds don't have talent. I got enough talent, and now because all the things going in the background, I've got other dances and stuff around me, blah blah blah. I'm putting out my music. The music's good. It's all in the key of A. It's good. I'm not putting it down. I'm dancing to it. Yeah, this is great. But there's a difference between that and I picked up a horn when I was 14, and I've been working at it 6 hours a day. I'm gonna plug a friend of mine. He'd probably be mad at me. Dude's named Tony Baker is the greatest trombone player ever. I would put him against anybody, anytime. My man, I think he still teaches at North Texas State. And he was telling me, I play saxophone, and he was telling me about his practice regime, how he'd be up late, and his And hey, Tony, you want to go sit down and eat? No, I'm gonna work on this thing. I put my hour in. I'm done. I'm going off to do something else. And the difference is, I put my horn away a while ago. Tony's still knocking it out. If you're a musician, you come into town, you need to back up. You'd be lucky to get Tony. And there's a difference. A jazz musician, you got to put that time and effort in. You got to be good in every key, not just every key. In fact, you got to be great. If somebody switch, hey, we're going to do A flat minor. Not a problem. Let's go. A flat. That's how long I've been away from music. That's probably not a real key. But you ready because that's what you've been working on. Same thing. Now, I may not have to switch genres but I got to be able to put characters together. The settings got to be right. If I want to convey a certain mood, I got to be able to set that, right? And that comes with practicing. It comes with reading. It comes with just working your craft. And the challenge is not doing it. The first challenge in that is just getting the attitude of, okay, I'm committed. I got no choice. I'm a storyteller. I'm going to tell stories. Do I want to tell good ones or bad? Do I want to have the craft to tell the kind of story I want to have or not? Not to say it's good or bad. It's no judgment. What level of craft do I want to have? That's the question.
Yes.
Yes.
How did you get published?
I've been cranking out short stories here and there. And so I hit a few literary magazines when I was in college. And I literally, you're supposed to go through the literary magazine first, but I was lazy. I just found one in the book and like, okay, it looks like they'll publish me. Wrote out my story, sent it in a few magazines. And I got, sometimes I got this is not good for us. It's not what we want. And I got published a few things back when I was younger. And then every once in a while, an e-zine will pick up something of mine. But then I discovered self-publishing, right? So it's a little more complicated because it's not about getting your story out. You got to get your story out, get it written. Now you got to find an editor, somebody to make sure it's clean, because it's easy to come out with there's a period missing. This should be a dash. You get an editor. That was another challenge. Find the right editor, somebody to help me with stuff like that. Then you got to figure out your covers and write your blurb and all that good time stuff. But it's only helped me as far as that's concerned. So as far as how I got published, I put things out, got frustrated with it, and started self-publishing. And that's the gist of it. But the story's not over. It's only helped me get better at it. So as far as this novel is concerned, after I get the first one written and the other stuff plotted out, the rest of the series plotted out, then we start sending the first 50 pages to publishers and see if we can get some traction. Yeah.
Okay. What has been your greatest literary accomplishment thus far?
Oh man, that's a broad question, because it could be, what's the longest thing I've written? I'm proud of that. It could be what I'm most proud of. It could be what is what award did I get, or what's greatest accomplishment? I'm going to go small with it. I got a short story published through a magazine, an e-zine. It's called Across the Alley, and if you can do a search on it, a Google search, you can find it. I can give you the link. And it was something I whipped out pretty quickly. I put some time and effort into it. And thought, let me just see if I can do this, because I hadn't published anything in a while, and I've been working as a professional writer. So let me see how much I've changed, because I've been writing for pay every day. Now, of course, I'm doing manuals, I'm doing mobile apps and stuff like that, but I have grown. Let me measure that growth, and they accepted it. In fact, they were kind of funny because it's Akasik. I've never heard it pronounced, so I'm probably mispronouncing it. A book publisher, and they have Murder Mondays. And so I wrote a story about murder, and then they wrote back and said, okay, we can't publish this for Murder Mondays, but we have drug day Thursdays, because there are drugs in it. We'll publish it on that. But they led with we won't publish it for the one thing. So I thought, oh man, another rejection letter. So I guess because of the way I read it and thought I was rejected, and then it was accepted. And I was just in a place in my life where I'm like, can I really get fiction done? To me, because I got that inspiration and that fueled everything else to get self-published, to get back into it, that would be the greatest achievement. And even though it might just been, it was the nudge I needed at the time I needed, I'm still going with that answer. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going with that answer.
Tell us something that people may not know about you that you might find interesting.
Oh, things that people may not know about me. I'm like, that they might find interesting. All right, give me just a moment. That they find interesting. Uh, huh, huh. I don't know how interesting it is, but I made I made the mistake around my partner. She and I were just we were in Vegas one day. We were just messing around and we're leaving. And I said the words, I want to learn to play craps when. And I think, and she's like, well, okay, we should do that. And to me, I'm the kind of person, because I'm a storyteller, I like to say the words, man, I want to learn to do such and such one day. I don't really want to do it. I want to explore it and then write about it and use it in a story. And I've ended up, I guess it's, and end up doing all this stuff because I said the wrong thing around the wrong person. Or maybe the right thing around the right person. Next thing you know, we're playing craps, and man, I can't say no one's good at it. you just lose less money. I've learned to ride a motorcycle. I've been mountaineering and rock climbing. So where you have to. Yeah, see, I see look on your eyes. Yeah, not a lot of us out there. Where you, you tie yourself onto the rope. The rope's running up about, I don't know, 100 feet in the air. It comes back down. The other person's holding on. They don't weigh. They weigh half of what you do, so they got to anchor themselves down, and you just climbing on up. You climbing, yeah, because I mentioned it, my interest in it, around the wrong person. Now I'm out there doing it. So I guess I surround myself with people who go out and do stuff a lot more than I do, and I end up doing it too. So that would be interesting fact about me. Oh yeah.
All right. How can readers find you and your books?
Okay. Website, raymondmiller.com. That's every book is written there. You can do a Google search on Raymond Miller, cross the alley. That'll bring you the other thing. And Amazon, Amazon. You just do a search for Raymond Miller and Kentucky, and that first book will pull up. Go to the author's page. It's right there. And I encourage you to go to my website, raymondmiller.com, and sign up for my newsletter. And that way you'll be right on top of it, and you'll know when anything comes out. Anything comes out. Now, if you're into cooking, though, I'm going to put this up here because Mom's like, you got to play it twice. There you go. WilmaMiller.com. Okay, we go. See that? Wilma Miller. WilmaMiller.com. We got her website up, and you can sign up to her newsletter. And I end up answering all her correspondence and her email anyway, so you can contact me through that, too. So Wilma@WilmaJeanMiller.com. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
Yeah, yes. Two people out there. I was going to say young people. This is everybody. If you want to write, if you want to tell stories, if you want to get your thing out there, just do it. Just do it. Have your thing that you're working for. And I'm going to put out my memoirs because I had a rough life. And I've met a lot of people like this. They just, hey, write my story for me. And I'm like, I wish I had time to write everybody's story for everybody. I really do. But take the thing you want to write, work on it a little bit, get it established, move forward, put it aside, go work on other things, work on your poetry, work on plays, work on the stuff you're interested in. And when you get your skill to a certain place, go back to it and knock it out. It don't have to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It could just be 9 months. It could just be, 18 months. But even if you don't do it that way, just start writing. Get your words on paper. Don't let doubt and people telling you what you can't do stand in your way. Just do it. Just do it. And if you had a choice between writing your own thing and buying my thing, I so want you to get out and write. Do your thing. That's so valuable. You can always buy my stuff. Do your thing and don't be ashamed. Don't shy away from it. Hit that sucker right in the mouth and just go. I would encourage everybody to do that. So, yes.
All right. Thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I've had a wonderful time, and I appreciate you allowing me to participate.
You're welcome. All right. This is Quinny Clem with Quinny's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.